So you're
Questions to
looking for
ask
something
on a
serious,
first
and you
date.
think when you go out with a guy, the first thing you need to do is to order food, order champagne, drink wine, drink Azul. My dear, you're not ready. My name is Anna Anthony, and you're watching Sandra Pod. And today's hot topic is questions to ask on a first date. You're going on a first date. Here are the list of questions that you should have in mind to ask. And you can do this directly or indirectly. The first question is, what are you looking for? Now, this will enable you know the essence of that outing and also enable you know what is going through his mind. If he tells you, well, I don't know for now, let's just see how it goes, or let's just kick it and see where it leads, just know that this one is not serious. He just wants to chop and clean mouth and disappear. Or he doesn't even know what he wants yet. He just finds you attractive and, well, he just wants to keep you because you're attractive at the moment. But he might not necessarily have any thought whatsoever as to what to do with you in the long haul. So you have to ask that question so that you know what he is looking for or what he wants. If he wants something serious, or he just wants to be in a relationship because you know what, it's cool to have a girlfriend and all his friends have girlfriends, or everyone around him has a girlfriend, so he wants to be that guy that, you know what, well, I have a girlfriend. He just wants to fit in with his friends, his colleagues, and is not looking for anything serious. So this question is very important to know where to also place the guy as number one, okay, serious guy, or two, unserious guy, or three, confused guy. He doesn't know what he wants. It means he will have to do a lot of work on himself before he can even know what to do with you. And that's just it. So more often than not, it's always good when you're with someone who comes from a very close knitted family, as opposed to someone who has daddy issues or mommy issues. But that doesn't mean that they can't treat you well. It just means that they will have, gone through a lot. They will have taken out time to study themselves and fix themselves, because the worst thing you can do is to come and meet, is to be in a relationship with someone and project your insecurities on them, is to be in a relationship with someone and put your emotional burden on them, because rather than you guys growing together, it's going to be dragging your partner down. Because now, instead of you guys trying to love each other, support each other, and build each other up, you, on the other hand, as a woman, you have so much on your plate. You have a lot of work, you have a lot of burden on trying to teach him how to love himself, on how to treat you right. It's just a lot of work. So except you're down for such, it's always better to be with someone who comes from a very close-knitted family. But it's not a guarantee. We've still seen people who come from broken homes and they are exceptional individuals. They are very nice people. They have great personalities. At the end of the day, you are not what happened to you, because you can't change certain things about your life, but you can actually fix it and you can learn from it and you can be a better person. The third question is, what is your vision? Now, I think the worst thing that a woman can do to herself is to be with a man who doesn't have a vision. He doesn't have a direction. He doesn't have a drive. He doesn't have a passion. He doesn't have anything that motivates him whatsoever. He just wants to live for living's sake. He just wants to exist for existing sake and nothing else. It's going to be very tough. So sometimes you might ask this question directly, or you might have conversations with him and pick from it and infer, okay, this is how he's talking, this is what he's sounding like. So from this statement, I think I can infer that he doesn't have a vision. From this statement, I think I can infer that this man has so much drive. He has so much passion. All he needs is the grace of God in his life, and boom, he's the next big thing. A man who has no vision can't lead you, and God's natural plan for a man is to be a leader. So it's better if you're with a man who has a vision. But sometimes too, life can be dicey. Initially people will tell you, well, ask him if he has a goal. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Life is not rocket science. And if you're someone who is living life based on, in the next year I must do this, next 2 years I must do that, if you don't meet up with that goal, you might end up as a very, very frustrated person. But nevertheless, it's always good to have a vision. You might not necessarily put a timeline on it, but every day make sure that you're working towards that goal, and in no time you're there, in no time you have achieved it. So it's always better to be with a man who has a plan for his life, who has a vision for his life. The fourth question is, what is your spec? This is very dicey because sometimes people date what's available. Your spec at that point in time might be unattainable. So what do men do? They date around what they can afford. They date around who is available, why they upgrade themselves in hope that once they become better, once they get that high standard of income that they are hoping to get, they now switch and say, oh, this is my dream girl. So you have to know what his spec is so that you don't end up wasting your time. Then tomorrow he will come and say, well, you're not really my spec, you're not what I want, you're not classy enough for me, you're not this, you're not as fashionable as as I want, you're too conservative in your dressing, or you are too this, or you are too that, or you are too that. There will always be one excuse or the other. So it's always nice to know his spec. If his spec is curvy girl and you are a slim girl, the Lord is your strength. Because eventually, if he becomes who he wants to be, he most definitely, or he might, it's still under probability, leave you and go all out for his spec. And if his spec is a slim girl and you are an endowed, you are a curvy girl, when he's ready, he might leave you and say, no, this is what I want, this is who I want. And at the end of the day, you've ended up wasting your time. So it's always good to know what a man's spec is, so you know if you are a spec or not. If you're not a spec, just quietly shift and look for someone who you fit into his idea of his own dream girl or his own dream woman, so that you don't end up wasting your time. Time is precious though. So if you don't want to waste your time, it's always good to know what a man's spec is. And if you're not a spec, you know how to quickly take yourself out of the picture and allow him go all out for his spec. Because he'll always treat his spec better than you. That's the truth. Every man has his dream girl. And if he gets to date his dream girl, trust me, she would never have to complain about anything. Because a man knows what to do, at what time to do it. So if you're not a spec, he might not treat you the way you want him to treat you. But if you are a spec, he would not complain. He would definitely go all out for you. Because he wants to keep you. Because he likes you. He likes being around you. You are what he wants or who he wants. And that is on period. The fifth question is if he is God-fearing. If a man is God-fearing, he knows the difference between right, wrong,